All right. So, let's get to work on that Neovim configuration. I already have one right here. That is mine that I already have, but it's a little bit broken sometimes, so I felt like I would rebuild it along with like projections, breaking sessions and all that. Like, it's just a little bit more broken than I'm happy with, so yeah. We're gonna make a new branch. Hey Giovanni, yeah, I use Lua for all of it, unless I have to use Vim script, which is very rare. Hey Rafuldos, how you doing today? Hey, that's alright. Thanks for showing up. Hopefully my audio is a little bit better than last stream. I moved my mic around and changed some settings so it wouldn't be so quiet. So if we look, I'm gonna go to dev. Whoops. So let me see here. Is that how I do it? I forgot. Let me go to my GitHub page because I have my current. Whoops, that is the wrong profile. There we go. So right here is my Neovim configuration. It's just got, it's 100% Lua and a little bit of Nix to just like get it to load it from here so I could run, because right now if I do NVIM, it's blank. I could run this. I want to paste. There we go. It'll run it remotely. Like that. So nice, but I want to work on that a bit. I got quite a lot of plugins. I will be copying a lot of things, mostly my LSP configuration and my other settings, plus this other guy's video that I saw. Where was it? Dang, I think I lost it. Let me see if I can find it. There was a great .config. Oh, is that it? Did I already have? I did have it bookmarked. Never mind. So right here, he's got a lot of good options or remaps. So, oops. Okay. So, a lot of good options here. One of this is, and no remap for this. What this will do is if I open an example file, so I'll cd into my window manager, and we'll go to the, I don't know, let's do the Flake lock because it's long. If you go here and I search for like nar. Then I hit next. And what it does is this keybind for N and Shift N will actually go Shift N and then go ZZ and ZV, which will center it. So if I go next, and now my cursor's here, I can go ZZ, ZV, and it will center the line automatically every single time. So I like that a little bit. This guy also does JK really fast inside of insert mode, and that will actually get him out of insert mode, but I just remap my caps lock to escape, so I don't have that as a problem. So yeah, let's go ahead and clone my own Neovim so I can copy things easy. Yeah, I used to use escape. I still use escape too much. It's just built in, but I really need to get out of that habit because caps lock is so much better. I was also working Neocord, that's right here, was some sort of Discord plugin because I was using Discord or presence.nvim, which is still good, and I'm going to add it here. That might be too loud. It's like clipping for me for some reason. Presence.nvim, I don't know why I spelled it wrong. I can't find it. Discord and this is a great, there it is. I did some contribution, and this guy's been busy in his life. Like, where did I have this? It was terminal mode. There it is. Keep getting messages from Blacked Out's Discord, so I'm gonna go into Do Not Disturb on Discord. Yeah. So I contributed this little... It was super basic. It just added the ability to show that you were in a terminal, because it would say I was editing fish every time I opened my terminal. But yeah, he's been too busy to work on that. So I tried making my own, but like all of his code is not... Like, he doesn't have a license, so it's all his, which means I can't take it and use some of it to build my own better plugin, unfortunately. And yeah, so I think people have talked about it, but this is still a good plugin. I need to add it, but yeah, me too. It's been a minute though. So I do have a personal fork of it. I think it's on this branch. And this one has the fix. So you can use that if you'd like. It's otherwise it's feature parity with that. It is. So it is a feature parity, or it's an interface to Discord. So the way that NWeebs works, if I go NWeeb and go back, basically he runs this little, where is it, depths? Yeah. Here. He has this little thing that talks to the Discord Rich Presence client and interfaces with it, and then he can use that to send Discord Rich Presence. So it'll say playing Neovim with all the stuff. It'll link to the GitHub repository or anything else you're working on if it knows how that is hosted, and lets you actually show that. It's pretty nice. I just made that little thing because I was tired of it saying editing fish, which technically was correct, but like using NV term, it was really broken. So what is this? This is a copy paste. I do know this guy wrote this little remap function. He wrote this bind function, and all it does is return these, so it's not as extended as vim.keymap.set. So I think I'll steal this as well. Whoops. That's all building a Neovim configuration is stealing. Okay. So I have this open just as an example for me to copy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to Z into NVIM. Z is also a really nice tool that I like to use. If you haven't heard of it, it will, every time you cd, if you Z into a directory, right, it'll find it by looking at your shell history, and then you can do that to find anything else. So I could do .d, and that'll just take me to my .files directory. It's really nice. It just looks at your move history, and it's this one. There's two different types. There's the binary one, and then there's the fish plugin. And I happen to use the fish plugin because it's nice. It's simple. It just works. It hooks in the same way derivation does almost. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and copy this flake. So I'm gonna say cp flake.nix into /.config and right there. Boom. So now we're gonna edit this, because my one issue that I had here was, so I have flake util set up. Basically all this does is override the Neovim package, and when it does that, it then sets it the runtime path to wherever this is in the Nix store, and then also sources from the Nix store the init.lua, and then that finds where the rest of the files are. Which works sometimes. For some reason, I think it's because I'm using lazy, and lazy.nvim starts this lazy lock file, which is looking to do it in the .config nvim directory. So I want to find a way to not do a lock file, because I already ignore it anyway, because plugins don't break that often, so I just kind of don't see the point. Oh, yeah, I haven't set up agenix for my .files repository, so I just have it private. I really need to work on that. I can share the Hyprland config, though, because that took a little bit. Let me see. I don't want to, I have a couple things in here. Let me see. Oops, dang it. Let me run my old config since I deleted the one I'm working on right now. Let's see. So my Hyprland config, I've got a lot of stuff in here, but so the way that it works, I'll show you this. I'm using snowfalllib from Jake Hamilton, which lets me write packages and modules. So I just write my own modules. But here I have a Hyprland module. Let me see if I didn't put anything in there that I don't want. Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I do. So here's this. Let me see, scale? No, I don't know what I use. It just kind of works. Where did I put this? Because I basically just edited the default and snatched some stuff up. I don't know. Yeah, I think I just use whatever Hyprland on NixOS ships with. Yeah, right? I'm genuinely surprised, because sometimes the scaling is weird. Not on this, but on other setups I've seen, it's a little bit fractionally scaled wrong. Anyway, I just have this, and I enable all the things that I want to use. So I'm using EWW for my bar, which is not on right now. I have X Wayland. I have a couple things for screenshots, so I can just hit print screen to screenshot, and then the mod key for that. Yeah, I actually do. Let me see. Let me check this real quick too, because I have a NVIDIA config that works really well. I'm using an NVIDIA, I think P1000, which is it's weird. It's for enterprise, but let me see. Anything in here? Nope. Right here. So this is a pretty basic setup, but when I enable the NVIDIA module, I just do X server, video drivers, and then I have mode setting. I don't know if I need that. And then I do the stable NVIDIA packages. I don't use the open source, just the basics. And then I alias this because I was sick of having NVIDIA settings in my home folder and the NV one. So, but it still shows up for some reason. And then after that, I just set NVIDIA patches for Hyprland. This is required to have my cursor show up. It can't be rendered by the GPU. It has to be that. And then this is to get the Electron apps to use Wayland correctly. So Discord wouldn't work without a patch or like launching it with a certain flag. But yeah, and then this just works. Yeah, the stable packages, I've never had an issue even when they update, and then when you enable the NVIDIA patches, NixOS will compile Hyprland with them. So it takes longer to install if you enable the NVIDIA patches, but I haven't had much of an issue. I don't know why my scale just works for me. It just does. Maybe I'm lucky or something. I don't know how. Because I hear people complain about that a lot. Let me see, do I use that? What is it? Oh, for scaling, okay. Well, I use auto then. Okay, I was gonna say. But mostly for all this stuff I use ints. This Bezier curve is normal though. That's just the one that default. Because I just liked how that looked originally. And then yeah, that's basically it. But the NVIDIA works fine. And then I just launch... Whoops. Why is that doing that? That's weird. And then I just launch SWW and launch my 2 bars because I'd use 2 monitors. And then... Yeah, and then I launch my wallpaper. This is just a custom script. And then... Yeah, I did this quite a while ago. I can't remember when. But I used to use i3, and then I switched over to Sway. Back when I was on Arch. And when I was on Arch, it broke a lot. Like, I used the Arch install script, and I think I set a separate partition for root, which was a big mistake, because then it filled up really fast when I installed a Flatpak, and I had to reinstall, and I didn't cache my dot files at the time. So it ended up just wasting all my time. And then I found out what NixOS was, and it was way better. I love just being able to throw it on any machine that I want and having the same environment. Even servers, I just don't enable the desktop feature. It's great. Speaking of that, when did EXA get, like, stop being maintained? Because I just switched to EZA when I updated yesterday, but I find that interesting. Like, why they stopped working on that. They should have just kept, like, accepting PRs. I don't know. I mean, I just, literally, I was updating and it said, you need to switch it out for EZA, so I did. Which I like EZA more now, because I have all this Git signs and a little bit better icons, and hyperlinks is nice too. Yeah, I'm looking into using Disco. I did write a custom tool to deploy, using just Nix copy, I think. It's just called deploy, but it lets me build the closure of a system on here and then copy that closure over. It's just like simplifies the command. Then I just say the host name on my local network. I think the one of them's Polaris, so I copy that to Polaris on my home network, and then it just updates it, and it doesn't do it on the machine. Things like that, like, and I'm looking at using Disco because that's the last thing is I always have to open the wiki to remember how to run all the commands, because it's just like I don't have that stored in my brain. I bet I could if I did it enough, but it never breaks, so I never have to reinstall unless I like want a completely clean system. Let's see. So this Flake that I have just overrides the Neovim package and all that does is override it with this runtime path, and then I have a shell that has Neovim, but with this custom Neovim package, I believe. Right? I've been looking into trying to run Nix on Alpine and maybe Void. I never tried Void, but I heard people use it, and I'm interested as to why they move away from NixOS and use Nix on Void. And Alpine looks good for like little tiny Raspberry Pis because they don't have, especially the 1 gigabyte model just doesn't have enough. So Alpine with Nix might be a good option for that, for almost embedded systems. Because like being able to just throw K3s on a Raspberry Pi with NixOS remotely by deploying it straight from my Flake configuration is nice. I'd love to be able to do that. You see, this is the thing. I don't understand all the hate for systemd. I get that it's a little bloated as far as like size, but it does all the things it needs to do, and it doesn't take that long to start. My startup time is like, I don't know, 20 seconds from, and that's with an extended bootloader time. BIOS screen. I believe Nix does. Let me see. Because, like, they have a section right here. I know, like, I think it's just the suckless people that really complain a lot about it. No hate to them, but still. It's not that big a deal. So let's do this now. Yeah, that's probably what it is. They just want to be not, they just don't want to be normies, which systemd is the quote unquote normie bootloader. And I've tried Void. I think I installed Artix one time on my laptop, which had a hard disk drive before I switched it into an SSD, and it like didn't feel any different. The screen looked different, but I mean, it's not really the start time. Like, it's not systemd that's making it take a while. It's the fact that all you have is those services, and when you start network and wait to actually boot up the desktop environment after the network card needs to initialize, that's what makes it take a while. So if you postpone the network initialization, then it will definitely reduce your startup time. Because that seems to be the main issue. I don't know, but I mean, it hasn't been enough of an issue where I've complained, because I mean, like, you know, it's not bad enough. We're on modern stuff. Yeah, I used to distro hop a lot too. I think I started, let's see, I was using Windows, and I don't know what happened. I was messing around, and I deleted my home partition while, like, experimenting, and it just wiped my Windows, and I didn't want to pay for a new Windows key, and I didn't know they didn't care if you just used Windows without activating it. So I used Linux Mint for a number of years. Then I switched back to Windows for some software, and then I went on to Pop! OS, which I liked a lot. Pop! OS is a good distro. Just slow. And then I switched to Arch, because I heard everyone was liking Arch. I didn't understand why. And I like that too, but the fact that broken installs would hit all the time, I hated that. It wasn't worth just the speed. So then I was looking at HListener, the guy who made Doom Emacs, and I was looking at where is Doom Emacs? Why is there always some spam version of GitHub? Yeah, I think that might have been what I did. Anyway, I was looking at this guy's profile. He makes Doom Emacs, and I used to use Doom Emacs before I switched because it was just so simple to set up. But yeah. But here I was checking this out and I was like, this looks cool. Because I just was, you know, in awe at the eye candy. But then I looked and I was like, wait a minute. This is your install to get that? That's all you have to do? So I looked and then he did this really long thing about like, never use it because it will harm you. Namely that. But yeah, it seemed worth it. So I switched and it was very broken. But after a while, I really got into the swing of things. I used i3, and then I got sick of that, so I finally found Hyprland from Chris Titus Tech's video. And a couple other things. Yeah, right? That seems to be every NixOS user. Yes, like, the fact that it was so hard to learn NixOS, it was pain. But I realized the power that it had was worth the learning curve, and I'm so glad I didn't give up on it, because it is by far the hardest piece of tech to get into. I've never had that big an issue getting into something, but it was absolutely worth it. Let me see. I ended up never quitting purely because of the pain of installing every other distro. It just didn't seem worth it to me. I already had what I had, and I was enjoying learning it, but it was hard. But I could never go back, I don't think. And this is what I think is the main issue with NixOS, is it's so powerful, but all that power is locked behind people like that understand how it works. So you have to talk to mentors, or you have to in the community, or you have to just like read code. It's just so difficult, and I feel like we'd get a lot more support if it was easier to get into. And I mean, there have been efforts. We do have, you know, Will T, who has made some videos. Where's his video guide? Is it here? I think this guy will link to it. There it is. Right here. This is a great series. This is how I got into it. Well, the thing with me with the graphical install is like you're kind of getting people into the OS super easy. Yeah, here, I'll drop that for you. It's super easy to install, but then after that, it's like you're expected to edit files. No problem. To edit files. And it's like when you're editing files, that's completely... Being in the TTY and editing the first config file is what it's about. This is what NixOS is. You're not able to customize with the graphical unless you use, you know, NixOS, what is it? Flake editor. I think there's one that does that on there. I forget where it is. This is also a pretty good thing too. I can drop that if you want. Yeah, I think, what is it? Nix.dev, which I never used. All these things I found after I didn't need them anymore, which is unfortunate, but Nix.dev, I believe, is one. I linked to one on the Discord. Let me see if I can find it. I linked it to Dre on the Discord. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, Nix.dev and 0 to Nix. So let me look at these two sources so you can kind of see. Yeah, all these great things that I would have loved to have, I found after. But I still love giving them to people because it helps. Like, this is very, very surface level. Yeah. Go ahead. I think there's a Svelte URL shortener that they showed on the Svelte thing. Is it this? Okay, yeah, it is. Is this it? No, that's not it. I didn't want to use the pocket-based one. There's another one that's really simple. Is it this? No, I don't know. It was super easy, though. Anyway, this gives a really, really good overview of Nix. So it explains a little bit of how to install, even on... Oh, I didn't know they did it on the Steam Deck. That's nice. The Steam Deck could definitely use with stuff like that. Declarative Steam Deck. But yeah, some really basics. Yeah. This is... I believe this is the source you're looking for. Cool. Alright. So this adds a lot of good stuff here. They have their own installer. I don't recommend that. Just install it normal way or try NixOS. You can really get set up easy. If you install Nix from your package manager or the way they want, you can actually take anyone's config and build a virtual machine. Hey, thanks for that, ReadyF. I love this little code block. Yeah. Oh wow, you have a lot of stuff. This is great. I'll pin this. This is good. Cool. So let me see. 0 to Nix I really like. I've looked a little bit into, mainly I've learned a couple things. Let me see. Was it? I think derivations this is the way that I kind of refresh my memory on how some stuff works, because I was out of the loop for a while. I was working on other stuff. So yeah. Let me see. So that's a good source. Nix.dev is, I saw like a week ago. It's pretty good too, which again, you linked to. I haven't seen this NixOS and Flake's this cute. Have I seen that before? No, I haven't. Ooh, I really like this actually. This would honestly be great to convert into a video series on how it works. Like use these as references. Okay. Cool. I will save. Now that that's pinned, I will definitely check that out. Man, this turned away from a Neovim thing into just NixOS. But that's fine. NixOS is, we definitely need a lot more resources for that. Honestly, derivations, they're kind of... The one thing that I don't like is how scattered around building a derivation is in Nix packages. Like, if you look at Nix packages, and let's say... So I was working on this build zig package, which got declined, but... Let me see. If I do build zig package... Here it was. I was trying to make a builder function that looked like this, which is like a lot of the other ones, which is you just call the compiler that you want, like zig, let's say 09 instead of the latest. This would be the latest. Same as the nim packages, like I said here. I got a lot of people to talk about this, including the creator of, let's see, Robert H was here. And then also we communicated a little bit about, let's see, where is it? I communicated with the guy making the Zig language a little bit. Not Anderson Torres, I forget his name. Andrew Kelly, that's it. But It was fairly simple. Like, by the end, I did a lot of stuff, but it was super simple. All you would do is call this, and it just was part of the Zig package. And what's interesting is why, like, they decided to go with something else instead of a builder function, because they said they were sick of builder functions. So they switched to this, like, use hook. So if I look for river, alright, cool. Let's see, river, was this it? No, where's the river package, not the module? There it is, right here. They ended up switching to this, which is basically Zig hooks, or like shell hooks when they build. So they did Zig build flags, and then they just do all this extra stuff, which in my opinion is more confusing than just allowing you to add additional flags when you compile using build Zig package. Which, I mean, I get that this is probably a cleaner interface, and this is the one thing, if we standardize just hooking into build flags the same way a regular MK derivation would work, then that would make cleaner code, and we wouldn't have all these random builder functions like build Python package, build Rust package. We would just have a basic hook that you could bring in, but it would work on MK derivation. Because that's what they're doing here. They just have MK derivation to keep it clean and consistent. So I understand why they didn't want the builder function, but still. Okay, init.lua. So the reason that I have this color scheme thing is in my dot files I hook in when I change my theme, because every time I set a theme variable I just change I import all the colors into it in a theme directory like this right here. So here's my alacrity config, which only hooks in this stuff, which then the main alacrity YAML then imports the theme, and the theme is like folders agnostic. I just like source it using home manager, and that's why that does that, because then I can just say what color scheme do I want to use inside my Neovim config. Where is that? There it is. So I have all my settings here, and I really need to not put them in here. So let's move that into a custom file. But first thing is this. This has to be above the lazy initialization, because if it isn't, it breaks. So there we go. So now that it's like this, we then require lazy and we set up with plugins. Now what this will do is something really nice. We p-p lua plugins. And the great thing about this is now I don't need to source every single plugin. If I go Lua plugins, yeah, I hate importing. Or what do you mean by that? Importing it, or do you hate just? Oops, what am I doing? Or do you hate working with having this extra settings above it? Because I would prefer to import everything else and then just have lazy as the only thing in my init file, other than like hook everything else. Oh yeah, I mean this is the same every single time, so I don't have a problem with that. It's a little bit, but working, this is the one nice thing that I really like about lazy, is if I do here and inside the plugins directory, I'll just do an example. What's good? Lazy git. You can just make a file. You don't have to import it. You just can do this. You can go lazy git.lua, and then as long as this block returns, there we go. As long as this block returns a set, I don't know if it's called a set it might be called a table or something in Lua, but it will return the name of the plugin, and then this will say don't load until this keybind is set, which just runs lazygit and it describes it for which key, which means now when I load NVIM and I go space GG, now it's loaded. That's so ugly. So I'm gonna clean this out. How do I clean? X. There we go. So yeah. I'm sorry. Let me get my color scheme in real quick. And before I have like my initial actually good settings, I'm just gonna go nix run. Not nix static, nix run GitHub. Here we go. IO master Neovim. And that will run mine. Whoops, I forgot that if I clean the cache, now it's gonna do that. Okay, well, whatever. There we go. And then what I also need to do is include, whoops. I need to include in my closure of, what? Oh, I ran Neovim. If I need to include in the closure here of, oh my gosh, the errors are so bad. It's because I don't have this. When I make a Neovim package, I also want to bring in additional packages, like CC, that will run with it, because when I use ts install, it'll run it needs CC with it. So I just want to package like GCC or Clang or something with my Neovim config. But yeah, that's the basics. So let's see. Things that I don't need. Projections. This I never use. I had it. Yeah, right. I don't use Waybar. I use EU, but yeah, I hate updates like that. But the great thing is you can see through your Git history to edit things. So yeah, this would basically run, it would make a workspace. Yeah, that's what they did. Now they have more specialized. I believe they have Sway and they have Hyprland workspaces now, because they've just deviated so much. They're still WL roots, but anyway, this would load projections, which is just like, it's projects and sessions. But the issue is every time I'd open up a project that had a session saved by this, it would then proceed to not load the LSP for any of it, and it wouldn't load the tree sitter as well. So this is why I'm not using this now for this one. Now, buffer line, this is good. Another great plugin that I don't see that often that I have is, where is it? Barbecue. Barbecue is great. And what it does is, if I'm inside something where tree sitter can be seen, is it that? Or is it Luo? Man, I'm gonna quickly hop into a Nix shell with GCC so it doesn't complain. Right there. So if we go init.lua, and sometimes barbecue works, sometimes it doesn't. But what it will do is, can I open this instead? Let's go dev, and I'll cd into WM. And I don't know why it decided to clear my cache for derenv, but that's okay. Once I get in here, come on. Well, I'll wait for that to do its thing. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So now look, if I go into src main.rs, not with Neovim, but with Nix run Neovim src main.rs, it's -- src main.rs. Exactly. Right in here. this little thing that has this VS Code traversal menu, if you have nested functions or inside modules, then yeah, it's nice. Like in this test, here's a function that's inside this test module. It will show you and let you click if you set it. I haven't set it because I don't click that often. I try not to use the mouse when I can for Neovim, but it'll show me like where I am, and I believe it interacts with some key bindings. So barbecue is a really nice plugin. I highly recommend you have it, and it's super simple with lazy. All you do is this. So I will add it right now. Boom, done. Now we wait, and when we open regular Neovim, we should have barbecue. If I open lazygit.lua, there it is, barbecue at the top. Let's get my color scheme in, so every time I use lazy, it doesn't like burn our eye sockets out. It does. So let me open. I think I saved barbecue in here. Did I? No, I didn't. Barbecue. Let me just do this. Boom. So right here, you can jump to context, and it's nice. So here's a full video that they have on barbecue. I believe he clicks, but see, this, especially when it's highly nested, yeah, there you go. It lets you jump to the top of a context, right there. So that is really handy to have, and it works with your LSP. So the reason that I don't have it in Lua right now is my LSP isn't running, because I haven't set that up yet. And I will show you a really nice LSP plugin that I use. So let's go back here and let me quickly do this. So I have a Nord theme for when I switch, but color schemes from Capuchin to Nord, but we'll just not do that. Right here, boom, and then we'll just get rid of this. And yes, a plugin file can return multiple plugins with lazy, and you don't need to import anything as long as you tell it to use the plugins directory. Anyway, right here is where ReadyF asked on a video about this. I just use Crust because I don't know, I just decided to make it a little bit darker. So if we go right here, I go all the way down here and use Crust as my background for both my terminal but also Neovim. So I just override this here in the setup function, and this also has high priority, so it loads first. And then yeah, we just load the Mocha theme and we override the base. So now when we do NVIM, we should have that. Perfect. Now let's set up LSP. Most of this is copying from my other stuff because I don't need to change that. I just need to, glean. So I use von Heikemann's LSP 0. So let's go here. LSP 0 I saw in, I believe it was, I forget what video I saw it in. I think it was the Primogens video on it. No, I think what you're thinking of is NullLS. And I think I used to use NullLS, but it didn't really work for me anyway, so I don't need it. I'm also trying to see how I can use mason.nvim like this. Yeah. NullLS is dead, but there's a couple replacements. I will find and link to that in the Discord server later. So mason.nvim, I wish it could probably work with NixOS if we do it imperatively, because like I wouldn't mind imperatively installing the language servers using NixEnv if it's declared inside of a Lua like mason.nvim file that like describes what language servers I want installed, because you still can do that. A lot of people say I want this to be preferred, and then that way it's declarative in one way, but it has to be installed imperatively. The same way NixOS does, it just converts declarative code into imperative operations to then do the install. Oh, I forgot. Geo, when you get into NixOS, just use a virtual machine. That's how I did it first as I was experimenting, and I worked on my first config for a little bit. I used it for like a month, and then I just decided to switch because my Arch broke again. So, and then later, if you want, if you install Nix, you can also mainly because like it's either for you or it isn't, and you don't want to commit to an install without even knowing. I think you can build a VM really easy. Oh yeah, I think you can install NixOS. Are you using a new M1 or M2 Mac, or are you still using an x86 Mac? Or is it NixOS build VMs? Here we go. And then you can just say the .flake output, and then yeah, I believe that's it, right? Okay, yeah, then you can just install Linux on a Mac. It's not that hard if you ever wanted to. But also, getting into a window manager or anything like that with a Mac is quite... Yeah. Does Asahi Linux... Let me see. Do Nix. I don't know how to spell it, so I'm just gonna do that. To be honest, let's see. So I was gonna stop streaming at 11, but I've got time, so I might go over by a bit. I think I'll do 11:30 instead. It depends. We'll see. I want to. Here we go. So does this Asahi Linux do Nix? Because if it does, then man, a Mac M1 might be worth it, to be honest. Because like, can you install the Asahi? Because mainly the reason that this works is it's Arch, but it uses their own custom drivers, like made by Asahi Lina, who's working on the GPU drivers and stuff. That's the main reason, is because they don't document their new hardware. It's only Apple's internal documentation. So, oh, here we go. Except Mac Studio. Oh. NixOS Wiki's pretty good, but it's pretty outdated at times. Wait, so can you install any Linux distro using Asahi? I don't understand. It's like, how does that work? Aren't they two like discrete distros? Yeah, I mean, if I ever bought a Mac M1, I'd probably use it. Let me see. So I use LSP0 here, which is pretty simple, but they give you a couple things. The setup is really easy. I use a function instead of like the normal thing. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Can't you copy the drivers? Because if you copy the drivers, that's the only thing that makes Asahi Linux like different than Arch, is the drivers that work on Mac. Like if we package, let me see. Is it this? Let's go to Nix packages and see if drivers are packaged. Hello. Well, I use LSP0 purely because I've tried setting up regular LSP and it's just, I don't know, I found it a little cumbersome. I think LSP0 just automates the setup. It still uses the native LSP. It's not its own thing. It just like has a setup function. Yeah, see? It just bundles boilerplate code necessary to have NVIV compy and LSP config to work together, and Mason. So it kind of like blends everything together. It's not its own LSP implementation for Neovim. But this makes it really easy, because now I can just do this for my own. Go nvim lua plugins LSP. Lua, and now I know that I'm not using my own. There we go. And right here, I have all these language servers set up. That's the one thing is I wish I didn't have to manually set up. I wish it would just work with every language server, and if it would just look for it automatically. I don't know how to do that. Maybe there's a way. And then a code action on attach, and then I do want sign columns. And then, yeah, just these. And that's it. And I also use Neodev, which a lot of plugins are in here. This is like just one file to manage all that. Snippets, trouble.nvim, something I use a lot. This is Flutter stuff as I was working on that. This is really good. Flutter Tools is great. Neodev by Flake, right here. So let's see. Whoops. I don't know why I copied the whole thing. Here we go. This is nice because it just gives you all that documentation for Lua like this. So it just shows that. Well, the thing is, I can't use Mason because I'm on NixOS. So that's the one thing is it just doesn't know how to install. Maybe I should look into contributing a way to install it imperatively so you declare it inside of a file what ones you want. But at that point, it's not automatic anymore. Like, I know Mason does that, but I can't use it. Because that's the one thing that I'm fine with is declaring the setup here I don't want. I'm good with having to declare the language server I use in my Flake files when I'm working on them for projects, but yeah. Alright, so there's Neodev. There's a lot of stuff. I have Tailwind CSS in here in case I needed it. I was working on that too. Zig language server, RNX LSP, pretty important. Lua LS, obviously, and ClangD. So, now when I go back in here, we should have a really good LSP right here. Boom. There's auto formatting, which I hate. For this, I like auto formatting most of the time, but I don't know why it picks such a weird way to auto format. I think the main reason is, let me see, ClangD. There's like a certain descriptor file that needs to get set up in order for ClangD to work correctly. There's like a configuration file. Is this it? Where is it? This is to, basically, the way that it needs to set up is to describe all your libraries to an extent. I don't know if it's this. Neovim setup for C++. Not the Dreams of Code video, but there's another video. This is it. Is this Chris at Dot Machine? No, it's not. So there's a certain file that needs to get set up by it's not CMake list, it's something else. There it is, compile commands.json. Let me see. Because like it's weird. I don't understand why it needs that. There it is. So it describes every tool you use, and I don't understand why it needs that. Like CMake and, as it says, Bazel sets it up, but like, why? Why have that? Every other LSP in the world does not need that. So that's the reason I think ClangD doesn't work. And I've had it work before. It's done perfectly fine on some Zig projects. If I find one that I have. Whoops, I did not mean to search it, but that's okay. We'll just do that. Right there. I go here, I have a Zig project somewhere. This. So this is not Zig. I wrote this in C. Just as a practice. I was working on it and then I stopped, but this worked fine. it read SDL, and I was able to use the LSP just fine. And all I did was use Zig to build because I just was sick of working with Make. And then I just have this, Clang Tools and SDL2 in my build inputs, and it just works. And I don't know why it works, because other times it doesn't. And this doesn't have a compile commands, but I was still using ClangD. Clang Tools is how you install ClangD. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's good. So now let's do this. Let's set up some options. Lua. Where is this? Options. Okay. Oh yeah, it's in my init.lua. I'm done. There we go. Right here. All this extra stuff. So Neovim, I don't use this too often, but when I do, I like it. Here we go. I know a lot of people do this weird thing where they do Lua and then they do a thing saying like their name, or it'll do custom and then they put that in, but I don't see the point. It doesn't really, like, I get it's to add a namespace, but if it's just your Neovim config, I don't see the reason to have it. It just kind of works. Then I just import options. And here's that neodev working, I believe, right? So if I go vim dot, yeah, there we go. So neodev is great because you get all this. Yeah, I think Prime did do that. And that's why people do it, but I don't understand why they need to do that. Anyway, this gives you all this stuff and explains it, and if I can do this too, I can hit my keybind Shift K, and this will give me documentation without having to look for it normally. So that's pretty nice. That's why NeoDev is a great plugin. I highly recommend it. I need to like link all of it. Okay, let's disable the mouse too, actually. I think I didn't put that in my options. Honestly, if you were looking to do multiple configs, like with Nix, you could just output 2 different configurations with the Lua folder, and then just like have 2 different Flake outputs, 1 for each. Alright. Set this undo dir. I don't know why I have everything randomly placed. I just kind of put it there and then didn't think about it. Right here. Oops. Dang it. Why does it always do that? Oh yeah, I don't have my... I'm dumb. I don't have my copy paste set somewhere. I forget how you rebind that. Oh yeah, there it is. Unnamed plus right there. Yeah, this is why I just threw everything in the init file, but I understand that it's a little bit better to be that way. So all this is good, done. So I have to leave this, unfortunately, which is slightly annoying, but you do what you can. Whoops, I just did a semicolon. Now, let's put in our flake.nix stylua. I think that works, right? Oh, there we go. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so that's gonna do Durham real quick. Yeah, I know, like, that's what is a pain to me about, like, using Packer. I think that's mostly a Packer thing, and Vim plug, which some people still use for Neovim for some reason. But you need an after directory to configure because it has to be loaded after. But with lazy NVim, all you do is... do I have stylua now? I do. Okay, perfect. Yeah, but if you use... Whoops, I'm using the wrong muscle memory. Like, if you have plugins in here, then the after is right here with this. I just say, this is my global config for von Hyprland, and then I have all my dependencies. But right there, this is considered an after. Once it's loaded, then work on it. After is, it's just messy. There's too many competing standards for building a Neovim config, in my opinion. If it was way more opinionated, it'd be better. It's not Lua. Okay, so now let's add one of my favorite plugins for file managers. It never breaks because that's one of their things. I put it NeoTree. Right there. Boom. NeoTree.lua. Oops. Right there. This is great. I think there's a couple broken icons purely because of the update to nerd fonts since I made this. Not installed so they can be defined in a Flake, but still lazy load. Let me think about this here. I don't know. I think at that point you can use like NixVim with, because like, let me see, NixVim is here. I think you can use this and still use lazy, but I'm not sure. That might be one way to get around it, but I mostly just define it in Lua and then export my config bundled with Neovim. Like if you look at the Flake right here, all this does is just bundle Neovim with the custom RC that sets the runtime path to where it is in the Nix store, and then sources where it is in the Nix store in it.lua, where the config is. And then the rest of it does what it needs. Oops. I don't know why I did that. So now that we have NeoTree, space OP opens this. Really simple, really nice. I can rename files easy. Yeah. So that's good. What's next? What did I do indent blank line for? Oh yeah, I think that's what I did. So nvim lua plugins blank line.lua. I think this is what it was for. No? So let me think here. So like when you're working with Nix, it's just exporting. So if you want, you can define, I think I did this in one of my things. Let me see on this other screen here. Let me go into my dot files. Nix run my Neovim config from the GitHub repo that's active now. Let me see. I think I did this in a couple places. I will link you to a VimJoyer video that goes over color scheming and stuff. That kind of explains a little bit. But you can source files just fine. Like, here is my waybar config. It's not done, but right here, I just say, this is a custom thing, but basically I'm just sourcing the waybar directory, right here, which is this, the config directory, to .config/waybar, and then I just recurse that so it's everything in there, and then I source it. So, you can do that, but you can also do like, home.file. And then this would be, or a .config file, and this would be in the config directory, and we could say waybar/extra style, and then .css, and then you would do this, and then say, or .source, and then the rest is, you can do a multi-line, and then that's it. Now you can just write CSS code inside of Nix, and it would source it. This is with Home Manager, but yeah, this happens everywhere. So now I could just write, I don't know, a little style. It wouldn't be highlighted. And maybe that's something I should work on as a plugin, is like, because I do know when working on Markdown, let me give you a little insight into something. Scripts. We'll do Docker Nix, because I was working, or let's do the just file video. Yeah, we'll do this. Script 1. That is not what I was going to do. Let's just, these are a couple of scripts, but here's my GitHub Actions video I was working on a while ago. If I nix run Neovim for this GitHub Actions, I do know, and I don't have GCC, of course not. There we go. Right here. So tree sitter's working. Tree sitter can actually run, and I don't know why it's not working now, right as I need it for an example. But it can highlight. This is, maybe YAML just doesn't look good. I don't know. What other videos can I do? Video scripts. Maybe my lazy Git video script. Here we go. Nope, no code blocks. Well, when you do a Markdown code block, I do know that it can highlight. Maybe Docker Linux 2. See, I don't know why it's not doing it, but originally it would highlight this as if it was just writing Nix code, because tree sitter will start a second tree sitter instance in here and then would highlight it as if you were writing that code. So maybe that is just a Neovim plugin I should make that lets it, like when you're working on this, if it knows what file type it is, it can syntax highlight the blocks. Because like that'd be really nice if I'm working on a package build, and when I say I want to build something, I can write the shell script, but it will be highlighted as if I was writing a shell script instead of just this default string text with a couple little highlights of Nix. Because that would make it a lot better. Okay, next. What do I have next? Oh yeah, a couple of those key bindings from this guy. So, I don't care about this. What I want, or actually, do I? Yeah, that's alright. Options. That's not what I was looking for either. I'm looking for remaps, aren't I? Yes, I am. These two are good. Let's see. Lua settings. We'll do key maps. Lua. Boom. And now I just need to do vim dot keymap dot set, and then I think I just do n right here as well for normal mode. Same thing here, so I yank paste, and then instead I just do capital N. So this will do something when I search and I hit the next key or back. When I'm in a search, it will center that if it can inside my view, which is just a little thing. I was using NoOS actually, but for Stylua, but it broke. And then he gave up, which is fair. It's a big undertaking, but not Stelline. That is next. Neochord, Neotree, Noise. Noise is good. I need to add that real quick. And then plugins, noise. Boom. Done. This is a complete overhaul of the UI. So, basically, I don't know why it's not doing it. Let me go to, it's another Folka plugin, which is the guy that made lazy.nvim. But this does a lot of stuff. Mainly this notifications, which was breaking, and a command line that has a little bit of extra stuff. What else does it do? Oh yeah, it'll highlight. It has a couple of different functions. So let me do this. Did I import that right? Where's noise? That's weird. Okay, I don't know why I didn't do that correctly. Okay, here we go. Boom. I don't know why it's auto formatting, but that's alright. Done. So now, if you look, I have this. This is just my settings. I hated it being in the middle. And I turned off the notifications because every time I get an error, it would like float all the way out here. But there are some animations that it does, including putting this right here. Noise will do this LSP. And then I can turn on NVIM Notify if you would like to see what that looks like. Oh, I don't have my window key maps, actually. Let me do that. All the way here. In my key maps, right here. Where would that be? Right here. So these I use all the time. I should really have them. I really need to set that. Okay, that's my issue. I need to set that twice. So here's these. Good, okay. Space is no op, purely because that. And then I need to copy this. Or actually, I can just copy this. Why didn't it do it? Shift I, no remap. Isn't it supposed to do that? Or is it it's Control V for visual mode, and I hit Shift I, and then I can delete and hit I. Then I hit that. Okay, I don't know. Normally that works. Maybe it's a setting I had up here. There we go. Okay, so now we no-opt those, so when I go back in here to quit the habit of using arrow keys and it still didn't work. Normal LI? Is that, did they change it? Because I remember it working before. Yeah, and that is still not done because I need to go and then init.do it. Paste, whoops. What? That's weird. Norm capital I. Yeah, I did that. I was hitting capital I. Oh, I have to do that? That's weird. Let me see. Why am I doing that? Why is it? Oh, my window key map is not set yet. Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I don't understand it. Once this Lua LS is loaded, which will then load this, I can see what's going on. Require right there. Done. Not an editor command. I know. Oh, that was done. That was the issue, not the importing. Key maps. Right here. Change this to I know remap. Anyway, let me see. Because like I'm hitting this and then I'm going I escape. Like what a. There, it did it now. I don't understand why it wasn't working earlier. I was doing the same thing. Let me see. I forgot where I found this video. There's a guy. I'm not using that for NoLS. Compile ST terminal. Oh, ReadyF, did you mean to put this on my Discord, or did you mean to do this on the NixOS Discord? Where is it? Let me see. Neovim setup. There's one guy that I'm trying to remember. Where? Here we go. Whoops. Okay, here we go. So this guy, let me copy the link and put it into this so it's saved.
One of the primary reasons.
Alright, let's see. Right here. So this guy is working on a lazy NVIM config. This guy makes good videos. Absolutely. ReadyF, did you mean to put that in my Discord, by the way? Your ST thing, or was that for the NixOS Discord? Because I know you're in a lot of Discords that I am in. NixOS, Vimjoyer, and Dreams of Code. Where is it? Okay, cool. I'll look at that. NVIM tree. So he does after, I believe. Does he? Oh no, he does do the same way I do. Anyway, he has one... I don't know if it's this video, but he talks about a replacement for NullOS in one of his videos. Maybe it's this.
What's up, you guys?
Try not to play it so you guys will watch it instead. But I'm looking for his replacements because he talked about them in one. I don't know if it was this.
One of the
Like, he talked about a replacement for NullOS. I don't know where it is. He had a couple that I was considering looking at that. Alright, well, I'll keep working on this. I'm going to end the stream pretty soon, but what I'll do real quick before that is we'll take a look at ReadyF's issue, and I'll see what I can do to try and fix it first. So you want it to rebuild the... Let me see. You want it to rebuild ST every time you rebuild your system config, basically? Oh, is that what it is? Is that what... I think maybe conform.nvim is what... Let me see. Let me open this in my stream profile. There we go. Maybe this is what he was talking about. Maybe that's it, because I don't like the options that Dreams of Code really provided in his. ReadyF, I do think that is something you can do. I don't see why you wouldn't. So what exactly happens? Does it just not... It just doesn't work? Does it, like, give you an error, or... I've never had this because I don't use, like, a source-built thing. I use Alacrity instead. But it says ST doesn't detect any change. Okay. So, do you have your config.h that you could post inside of this so I could test it? So this is the default ST. Or do you have custom, like, settings? Because maybe that's what it is. So let's do this. Oops. I don't know why this is being so laggy. I swear Discord sometimes. Alright, so we'll throw that in as a package. Yeah, I mean, I've tried ST. I don't know. It has issues with Unicode characters. I've also tried WesTerm and Kitty, and I think, I don't know, Kitty's fine. But the... Like, WesTerm is cooler, but it's just so slow. Why'd you put that as a spoiler? Oh, yeah, I've seen Foot too. It's basically Alacrity, but... Why did you put this... Did you do that so I could download it or something? Or do you want that private for this stream? Okay. I don't know why I can't theme this. I have not been able to. Slight issue, but... Alright. Now let's change this to write text config.default.h. Hold on. Okay, so we'll read the file not here. We'll just read /config.h. Yeah, right. I don't know. Okay, so now let's do nix build and see if it looks how you want. I think there's a Wayland port. Does not provide the default. Oh, this is a dev shell. I am dumb. Here. Well, I don't want to do a whole package build, so we'll just say nix build. There we go. Is there? Let me see. ST-Wave. I think I've heard it's fine. I mean, there's this. Let me see. Wrong one. I don't know why it does that. There's this. Never mind. I thought that was a thing. Okay. Alright, almost done here. Okay, there we go. So we go ST. There it is. So, gosh dang it. Hold on. Not in the Nix run. Right here. So you're just starting regular shell, and this is just the default config then. And then you got, is this custom colors, or is it just regular colors? That's all you want to do? All right, let's see. So this is what it's not doing then, is setting. I mean, was it using JetBrains mono font? I'm pretty sure it was. It does not appear to be using it. Unless this, no, it is using it. Ah. That's weird. So what can I, so let's see. Mainly the issue I think is that you have, so let's just look. I don't know. Let's look at switching this from SH to fish. Also for NixOS, I recommend USR bin env. For that, but so now I do nix build then. It's rebuilding the package right here every time. Yeah, I would hate having to start it with Flake. So now if I go ST, is it using fish? It is, right there. So when you're building it in your Neovim config, it's just not, or not Neovim, your NixOS config, it just doesn't work. That's weird. That would stump me. Maybe that's what it is. It's just hidden. Okay, well, it seems fine. So there's all your key bindings. They have eyes everywhere. In every DWM. They can hear you. They're living in your walls. Dang it, why do I keep doing that? I need to do this. There we go. Alright. Okay, so this is gonna take a bit more time. So I'm going to end the stream and I will work on trying to fix this for you later. I will see. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have a good day, and yeah, see ya.